the rugged east coast of Canada. There's sea salt in the air and in the blood of an entire culture. Generation after generation of cold water fishermen battle hurricane-force winds, towering waves, and freezing temperatures in the hunt for the ultimate prize.
Oh, jeez!
The ocean rewards them generously, but sometimes she wants something in return. What does it take to earn a living and stay alive at the whim of uncontrollable forces?
This is the worst case scenario.
This whole area is like going under. I'm exhilarated right now.
Canada's Atlantic provinces are lined with fishing villages up and down the coastline. Boats of all kinds fill the harbors, nestled along the rocky shores. Everything has been sculpted by persistent waves and wind. Storm hunter Mark Robinson has come to Yarmouth, Nova Scotia to understand the weather surrounding one of the most temperamental workplaces on the planet, the North Atlantic Ocean.
Normally I'm out here looking for hurricanes, but this time I'm out here looking for lobsters. I'm here on the lobster boats. Now, this is going to be quite an interesting time because I've actually never been out on a boat, especially not a fishing boat, in these kind of conditions. Now, right now, looks pretty nice, but out here on the East Coast, weather can turn on a dime. In fact, it can get spectacularly dangerous, and we're out here just to see what it's like to be out on the water when you're hunting for lobsters.
Southwest Nova Scotia is a world-renowned fishing territory for Atlantic lobster. This particular territory, known as Area 34, accounts for the biggest portion of the lobster haul in Canada. Here, the lobster season begins on the last Monday of November, known in the industry as Dumping Day. It's the first day captains can stake claim to their favorite fishing grounds and set their pots.
Everybody tries to get as many pots on their boat as they can to get them out into the water as quickly as they can. The season's just starting, the bait's there, so the lobsters are hungry.
The first day, some guys can catch anywhere from 4,000 pounds to 8,000 or 9,000 pounds.
With the side, fishermen can catch 80% of their entire haul within the first few weeks of the season.
It's crazy. It's from nothing to really hectic. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The season spans the roughest 6 months of the year on the North Atlantic.
There's wind, there's snow, it's cold, you know, the boats ice up. Like, this is not what most people would sign up for.
Area 34 is directly in the path of the Gulf Stream, the powerful warm ocean current that funnels hurricanes from the south and helps fuel nor'easters. The Gulf Stream collides with the cold Labrador current from the north, producing heavy fog, huge waves, and howling winds.
It's very common due to the time of year that the fishermen fish in, that they fish in rough weather. 2 to 3 meters wouldn't be uncommon for a boat to be out in fishing.
Since the fishermen's income depends on the size of their catch, they must decide if it's worth the risk.
If it's a really bad winter, they'll stop for 2 or 3 weeks, but some guys don't. They go every week.
A light breeze of 10 kilometers an hour can produce small wavelets under a meter high. A strong wind of 40 kilometers an hour generates large waves up to 4 meters, and it's enough for officials to postpone dumping day. With winds at 75 kilometers an hour, most captains will head to shore to avoid 10-meter high waves. That's if they don't get smashed against the rocks.
Cape Forestry is a really well-known spot in Yarmouth, and simply because it's the lighthouse point. The lighthouse keeps everybody safe trying to move past the rocks, but for the entire fleet of lobster fishermen, they've got to go through this little stretch of water right here.
All boats from this particular harbor will need to navigate through the rocks as they race to their fishing grounds. It'll be dark, and nerves will be on red alert. Reverend Bill Newell will lead the local community at the base of the lighthouse for a poignant annual tradition.
I have for the last several years go over to the Yarmouth Light and do what they call the blessing of the fleet, a prayer for the safety of the fishermen, for a good catch, but a safe catch. And I usually ended up by saying safe to sea, but safe home too. Full and bountiful harvest.
The sun still sleeps, but the wharf is bustling. The candlelit vigil is already underway, and the blessing is broadcast over VHF radio to crews loading their boats.
Watch over them and protect them, and that you would bring them safe to sea and safe to home.
It's been half a year since any deckhands have worked on a lobster boat,
John, be safe, buddy.
especially ones as crowded as those on dumping day. Even seasoned veterans are nervous this morning.
How dangerous is it? Like, how do you feel it's pretty dangerous?
Today's the worst.
Really?
Today is the worst. I mean, well, pot shooting by you. What do you get to stand on?
Until the first row of pots gets dumped, there's only a few bare inches of deck for the crew to work, and the stacks tower above their heads. One wrong step could be their last. Mark joins the crew of the Mr. Mariner. They have a 4-hour voyage before reaching the captain's favorite spot, hopefully before anyone else can claim it.
District 34 is a big area.
Yeah.
You can say anywhere you want in it, but if you just happen to go into somebody's that's been fishing there forever.
Yeah. And everyone knows where everyone's areas are? Is that?
Well, they're all, the reason they're all there.
Take a look back here. You can actually see this whole back of the ship is full of lobster pots, and every single one of those is going to be out in the water by the time we come back to shore.
Oh, man. Well, this is it. Here we go. Pulling away from the wharf. Next stop, where the heck out there? Just like a line of boats just headed out into the ocean right now.
Everyone must wait for the official start, 6 a.m., and not a second sooner.
Just wait for that flare to go up, and that's going to be the go signal, and all these boats are just going to take off to get out to their little patch of water.
Full steam ahead.
Man, once things got going, everybody just put the hammer down and everybody took off. It's just an armada coming out of the harbor. Woo! And here we go. We're getting into the waves now.
Finally, the sun peaks above the horizon. So far, the North Atlantic is in a good mood. The Mr. Mariner plows through wavelets less than a meter high in temperatures of only -7 degrees Celsius. Captain Chuck Cosman is optimistic as he steers out to deep sea.
Today is a beautiful day, luckily. You gotta watch the weather a bit. You hope that it's always good. Dumping day is hard on everyone's nerves.
Yeah.
But after everything goes smooth on days like this here, it's perfect. Nothing wrong with dumping day. It's like this.
Greenhorn Mark is still finding his sea legs.
Wait a second. Jeez. Okay, I'm holding on for dear life right now as the ship is sort of bouncing back and forth. And that's nothing compared to what it would be like out here on a severe weather day. Imagine far, far larger waves, winds moving at 100 km/h, snow. This is what these guys go through every single year to get these lobsters to your table.
Uh-oh.
despite the size of the ocean, there's still a lot of pots out here, and we may have just run over one of the line.
Yeah. You get ready to go? No, go with them anyway. Just 1, 2 back is better than that.
There's no time to lose. Any interruption means missing out while stocks are still high.
We have a bit of an issue. We ran over some rope with the boats. There's a little bit caught around the prop, so we're going to get it cut, retied, and then pull out. So we just hope it doesn't get too tangled up in the propeller, and any little delay is a big problem.
Lobsters are particularly active in the cold water of early winter. However, the water will soon get too cold. The bottom-dwelling lobsters will get sluggish and hibernate until spring. Crews will toil away during those quiet months to raise only a fraction of what they'll make in the weeks following dumping day.
It isn't just the elements that are the danger out here. There's also a tremendous amount of danger from the ship itself. Ropes, the pots, the buoys, the balloons, all this stuff can be a major danger. In fact, you can get caught by a rope being thrown overboard, the pots flying out real fast. There can be real problems, and even the ship heeling back and forth. It's a very, very dangerous profession.
So far, it's smooth sailing. But then,
what's that?
It's like a distress.
Naval relay, naval relay. This is Halifax Coast Review, Halifax Coast Review. At 300915, the flight for time, fishing vessel Conduit Lady, advised this man overboard. In position 4304.4 north. He's unconscious, is that correct?
the worst has happened. Another lobster boat, the Cockawit Lady, is already transmitting a distress call mere hours into the day.
Jeez. Sounds like you got a man overboard situation. I'm not sure how close they are to us, but they're quite a way. Okay, so yeah, Chuck said they're quite a ways away, so there's nothing we can do about it, but at least one person's gone overboard today already.
During the lobster season, the ocean temperature here averages around 5 degrees Celsius. Falling overboard would send a body into shock. The first reaction is to gasp, possibly drawing in a lungful of seawater. Within seconds, the heart begins to race and blood pressure spikes. This can cause cardiac arrest. Arms and hands lose dexterity in minutes. Drowning is not far behind.
Now, what's the chances? He's got a PFD on. He'll be okay, right?
If he's in a PFD on.
Yeah.
They're not standard for everybody. Like, a lot of people don't enforce them, so
yeah,
it's hopefully ain't too bad. Hopefully.
Yeah. Jeez. So that's the danger of being out here. You know, if you go overboard in these waters, I mean, it is cold. Like, I'm wearing quite a bit of gear right now, and it is cold. That water is also extraordinarily cold. So you're in that water, you better have a PFD on, or you're in trouble.
Despite rescue efforts this morning, the ocean claims her first life of the season.
There's always a risk of it happening, but it's the same as you chase tornadoes, you know. It's like they can turn and come at you. Something like that happens and you think about it more, you know, it reflects a little bit more in your head. Sit there and think about it and say, well, you know, that could have been us this time or that time.
Commercial fishing has a high frequency of on-the-job injury. Captain Chuck takes these perils seriously.
Their safety is foremost. Yeah. You know, money's always second, but safety is the main issue. Number one rule: pay attention. Yeah. So, because there's always things coming or going. It's, you know, and there's water all around you.
A monument near Yarmouth Harbor, one of many along the East Coast, honors the countless lives lost at sea. Lisa Fitzgerald leads the Nova Scotia Fisheries Sector Council, which aims to improve industry safety by providing man-overboard drills, training, and better equipment.
Our goal is to see, no more names added onto that list. Some fishermen may not be able to swim. They're going out and could be sometimes harsh conditions. They're on a moving platform and that's their workplace. And you think, oh my God, how could you actually go out there and do that? That's dangerous. But with the right tools and the best weather forecasting available, it doesn't have to be dangerous.
Marilyn D'Entremont also promotes safety in memory of her husband's legacy.
When people say fishing is dangerous, and they'll kind of shrug it off, and we know it's dangerous, but let's not make it more dangerous. Wear your personal flotation device. Be an example.
Their efforts are beginning to make a significant difference.
We have found the last number of years that fishermen are much more aware. They follow the forecast closely, and a majority of them will come in when the weather is forecasting extreme weather. They have more seaworthy vessels, they have more training in regards to safety, and we actually find the last number of years that there's less instances as in the past.
I don't want any other family to go through what we've gone through. I don't want anybody to not have a dad or to lose their husband.
Louis D'Entremont is among the many names etched in the memorial. He died when knocked overboard by an equipment failure.
Louis was probably the kindest man you would have ever met. He wasn't going to be a fisherman. When I met him, he was a welder, but then he began seeing flashes as a welder, and he couldn't continue that profession. He came home one day and he said, I think I'm gonna have to go fishing, because he couldn't see what else he could be doing. And I remember crying, thinking, I don't want to be married to a fisherman. But I was in love. It was too late. I guess I was hooked, pardon the pun. The day that Louis had his accident aboard the boat, it was a calm night. So it's not always the nastiness of the seas that take fishermen's lives. It can be just something going very, very wrong. It doesn't matter how many years go by, you still miss them. That love doesn't die. It's just that you don't see them, but they're still there in your heart. So I don't know if that ever goes away.
Knowing the ocean has already claimed a life today, the crew of the Mr. Mariner remains wary. They step quickly as coiled ropes lash across the wet deck. Heavy pots hurtle past before plunging into the frigid water.
What I didn't realize is that all the pot lines are assembled here on the boat. I thought it was all ready to go and just throw it out the back. They actually have to tie on the anchors, they have to tie on the buoy lines, they have to tie on the pots, everything as they're going. So it's quite the operation. Go down! All right, just open the door.
Finally, Mark gets his turn as a deckhand.
Like ring the bell?
Yeah, but don't worry, drive it through your hand, that's all I have.
Oh my God. He quickly learns just how backbreaking this job can be.
That's where I want to grab.
I'm gonna try this.
Right there. That's back up. Like that? Yep, grab it with that hand. Yeah.
And then
both put it together. We go
together. Jeez, you guys gotta do this fast, eh? It's harder than it looks. You gain a new appreciation of the kind of work you guys do.
Brand new pot, I don't want to lose it. So
no pressure or anything.
Gotta be pressure. Want me to come in?
I just want you guys do how many? 300 or something?
375.
375. You guys can move that all out. Yeah. That one, there we go. That's my pot. Let's see if it stays on. Fingers crossed. Hey! Hey! It made it.
Even though lobster fishing is exhausting, the lure of the ocean is irresistible for many.
I like the freedom of it. You know, it's just, I can't imagine having a desk job, you know, the 9 to 5 grind every day. I just like the fresh air. It's just enjoying handling it.
A lot of these fishermen have been exposed to fishing most of their lives. I would say their fathers or even their grandfathers or even further back. Fishing is their way of life more than the way of making a living. It's kind of like in their blood.
Wash your hands before you go home.
It's hard work, but they love being on the water.
It's that soothing nature that the ocean has. You know, people will spend hours looking at the ocean and wanting to live by the ocean. And when you're out there, you're surrounded by that. So it has a calming effect to it, which is a little different than maybe what people expect.
You pick your days when you want to go. You go hard, you don't, you know. I've done it all my life. Yeah, I like it.
Captain Chuck and his crew must wait until the next day before they're allowed to haul up and keep their catch. But today, they pull up a line of pots just so Mark can see how it's done.
This gear's gonna winch the whole thing up and out of the water. First thing they gotta do is use this stick here, it's called a gaff. And they're gonna grab the line as it goes by, hook it on there. The whole thing comes up. We're gonna see how many lobsters we have in there. So they're hauling up out of 300 feet of water. So you can see about 300 feet of rope, and then also you can see the pots come up. And hopefully, they're full of lobster. Actually, I really want to see this. I think this is going to be the coolest part.
This procedure is just as physically demanding.
Oh, here it comes. Whoa. Look at the size of that thing. There you go. That's what they're looking for. Lobsters. And there's a lot of them in here.
The lobster industry is highly regulated to protect the stock. The crew can only keep lobsters that reach a minimum size. Everything else goes back in the ocean. Acceptable lobsters get their claws banded and are packed in saltwater crates. And since it's still dumping day, even these lobsters go back until tomorrow. 10 hours of grueling labor, and dumping day draws to a close. The weather has remained calm, and the crew managed to set all 375 pots safely. After today, boats will bring their haul back to the harbor. The crated lobsters will be sold and shipped around the fishermen grab 2 or 3 hours of sleep and repeat the process all over again. Even without storms, Mark takes just as easily as she gives, and he knows the weather will soon change. As winter advances, the waves surge higher, the wind turns wilder, and Atlantic fishermen embrace the danger as just another day on the job.